Today we're going to be installing Lucky Stops draw stops on the Bear hybrid cam system. The bow we're going to be using today is the Bear Divergent. This will also apply to the Revival, the Threat, the Perception, and the Kuma. The other bows that these particular stops will fit on are the PSE bows that have the hybrid cam system and use a stop on both top and bottom. They'll also use one size of the stop if you have a single cam bow, a single cam Bear or single cam older PSE, and also some of the hybrid PSEs had just one stop on the bottom that will use one of these part numbers, and we'll go over that in a bit. We're going to talk about what size stop to pick. We're going to talk about short pegging the bow, long pegging the bow, and we'll use this Bear Divergent and we'll set it up with different stops, and I'll talk about the numbers that we achieved by installing the stops on it. For the Bear PSE hybrid cam system, we offer 4 basic sizes, the A6P through the D6P. Each set comes with a long stop and a short stop. The short stop will go on the bottom cam and the long one will go on the top cam. Every set has 3 different size screws in it because they cover a multiple range of cams. We throw in different size screws so that you can find the correct screw for your application. Each stop has 4 different sides on it, and each side is a different diameter. The diameters continue straight from the A6P with 1 dot on it all the way to the D6P with 4 dots on it continuously. Each gap is the same difference in diameter. To save a little money, we have bundled these together in Pro Packs, which offer multiple sizes together with one set of mounting hardware. Now, if your cam system just has 1 stop on it, or if you're running the single cam Bear bows, it'll use the A6PS through D6PS. There's just 1 stop in a pack. It's the short stop for the bottom. It also comes with the 3 different link screws so you can select the correct screw to mount to your cam. We do also offer these in the Pro Packs, which bundle together multiple sizes, save you a little bit of money. We're currently looking at the bottom cam of that Bear Divergent. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the factory stop with a set of A6Ps. And then what the A6Ps offer is they offer the factory setting, which is a 2 dot side. They'll offer 1 setting that will give you a little more draw length, and they'll offer 2 settings that'll actually shorten your draw length. So unlike most of our stops, the factory position on these stops is the 2 dot side. So with the A6Ps, there's 2 different lengths that come in the set. There's a long length and a short length. The long length should be for your top cam, and the short length should be for your bottom cam. So we're going to verify that the short one is the same as the one that's on this cam. We verified that. The other thing that's going to come in that pack are 3 different lengths of screws, and we have a very narrow web on this one where the bolt goes through. So we're going to use the shortest screw that came with the kit. To remove the factory stop, we'll take a 9/64 Allen wrench in the front side and a 7/64 Allen wrench in the back side. And we'll just unbolt it. And we want to note the position that the stop comes out. This stop is in the number 9 position. The module is also in the number 9 position. There's numbers on the module, and there's a hash mark on both the cam and the module, and it's indicating that it's on a 9, and that would be 29 inches on this particular bow. And typically to make the bow shorter, we were going to go into the same peg hole that we came out of. So we're going to take the shortest bolt out of the kit, and we're going to put that in the number 9 position, and we're going to put our stop in on that bolt, and we want to make sure this slash going through the slot is facing us and the dot's up. That slash is going to help us when we go tighten the stop down. So we're going to put this in the factory position. We're going to go to the 2 dot side, and what that's going to do for us is it's going to leave our draw length the same, but it's going to firm that back wall up for you. It's going to eliminate the rubber that's on the factory stop. This is how much rubber is on the factory stop. It's probably some of the softest rubber that I've ever seen on a draw stop. So the factory wall is pretty squishy on this. Now to tighten that down, we need to first line it up with the side that we want to hit our cable. So this stop, when this bow is at full draw, is going to contact the cable somewhere in here. So we need to replicate the cable somehow. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lay a card in the module, and that module represents this cable rolling around at full draw. And all we need to do with that card is line up the edge that we're going to use, which is a 2-dot side, tangent to the card. It does not have to be exactly in the center of that radius. It can be like this or this, and it's going to do the same thing. So again, what we're looking at is that the card is tangent to the stop. It can be that way or that way, and it's going to all be the same because this radius is on the center of that bolt. So it's just acting as a round stop at that point. Then we can go ahead and we can tighten the stop down with a 7/64 Allen wrench. Now to keep the stop from turning as we tighten it up, we can take a 3/32 Allen wrench and put in a slot on the stop and tighten it up. And then we want to double check that our stop did not move. And if we look, we are still tangent to the edge. So that was putting a stop in the factory position on the bottom cam. It's that easy. We do the same thing for the top cam, but for the top, we will use the long stop, and the bottom one has an S engraved in the back of it. If you look, this one is a B6P S, and the S is the short stop, and this one is a A6P L, and the L is the long stop. So this is actually an A6P S will be engraved on that stop. So the long stop goes on the top the same way that we installed the stop on the bottom. So there you have it. The top stop's installed exactly the same as the bottom stop. Like I said, this bow again will be set at the same length as the factory. It's basically going to just firm your wall up for you. And what we would do then is we would go out and shoot this bow. If we like it, then we just leave it. If we say this stop will actually offer us one setting where we can increase the draw length a little bit, maybe get a little bit more let off, a little more valley. So if you have a fairly aggressive cam, you can put it on the 1-dot side, and that'll give you a little bit easier cam to hold on to. If we want to shorten it up, increase our holding weight, decrease our valley length, then we would go to the 3-dot side, and then we would go to the 4-dot side. If that's not enough, then we pull out the B size stops, and they go in the same way as the A's in the same hole. We'll start on the 1-dot, work our way up to the 4 dots. If that's not enough, on this bow we would go into the C's, and we'd start moving to the 1, 2, 3, 4 dot side. And some bows we could use the D size stops. This bow we wouldn't be able to do it, but that D is an option for some bows where the spacing is a lot further apart between your stop holes. Let's talk a little bit about how we're achieving this draw length adjustment on these bows. We'll also talk a bit about long pegging. So when we want to make the bow longer, actually increase the draw length and increase the valley length, and on some bows will it be increasing the let off where we're actually holding a little bit less weight. Okay, remember this card represents the cable that we're actually going to stop on with the stop. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of tape and laid that down at where we would normally stop on that cable. So this tape represents the factory setting since we're on the 2-dot side of the stop. So on the 2-dot side, you notice that we're stopping right at the tape. And when we rotate to the 1-dot side, you notice that there is a little bit of gap between the stop and the tape. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow your cam, as you draw, to go back further than what it normally would. And that'll give you that extra draw length. Most of what we have been talking about has been going shorter. So when we go to like the 4-dot side that is longer, you can see how that goes into the tape, so it's going to stop your cams from rolling over as far, so it'll shorten your draw length. You can see that quite a bit once we use once we put like a B stop or a C stop. We'll just put a C back into that stock position and you look at a C1, how much further that's going to stop you on that cam. And that's where we're getting that shorter draw length. Now when we want to do a longer draw length, what we have to do is we have to let that cam go further. And the A is only going to give us one spot. So what we need to do is we need to go and put our stop in the next longer draw length hole, which would be the 9.5 on this. So we leave our module in the 9, which is a 29-inch position, but we're going to put our stop in the 9.5 position. So we'll put a B stop on that. And if we go to the B4 side, you can see it's going to let that cam roll over and hit that 4-dot side, giving us more valley, more draw length. And what we would do is we would just keep rotating the stop smaller and smaller. So we'd go to the 3-dot, 2-dot, 1-dot side. If that's not enough, then we could put a set of A's into that position. And that's going to let that cam roll over even further, giving us even more draw length. Again, the module is in the number 9 position, and our stops go in the number 9.5 position, and we will start with a larger stop and work our way smaller. Let's talk a little bit about the bow that we have. We have a Bear Divergent, and it was set at 58 pounds. And draw length was 29 inches. And our modules were set at number 9 to get that 29 inches. We have the factory stops. And there's no setting to do on those. Again, our module was in the number 9. And our stop was in the number 9 position also. Our holding weight went to 13.6 pounds. And that was what it took to get the bow back to the stops. And it would take off at a ½ pound less than that, so about 13.1 when you would take off going forward. So it was really good that way. The A6P stops, and what we have is we have the number 1 dot, and again our module's at 9 and our stop is in the number 9. Our holding weight was 13.6 pounds, and our length, it actually grew 3/32 of an inch, because the number 2 is the same as the factory on the Bear stops. So again, we have the A6P and the 2 dots. Same thing with the modules and the stops. Our holding weight again is 13.6, and our draw length is 0. Now let's compare the difference between the 2 dot and the factory, since these are at the same draw length. What I do for testing the wall is I add an extra pound of draw weight and another pound up to extra 5 pounds. So we have +1 would be 14.6 pounds, 15.6, 16.6, 17.6, and 18.6. So those are the actual weights that I'm drawing this bow back to. And what I do then is I measure how much further the string moves. And with the factory stops, at 1 extra pound, it moves 1/16 of an inch. And 2 pounds is 1/8. And then 3 pounds is 3/16. 4 pounds is 7/32. And 5 pounds, it moves a full 1/4 of an inch back. So it's pretty, the rubber on the factory stop is really thick and very soft. So what you're doing is you're compressing that rubber the harder you pull. The cable is just compressing into that rubber, and that's why you're getting a fair amount of travel here. When we put the A6P 2-dot side with the factory, our travel decreases down to, it's less than 1/32 of an inch at 1 extra pound, less than 1/16 of an inch at 2 pounds. So it's half of the travel already at 2 pounds extra. 3/32 of an inch at 3 pounds, and 1/8 of an inch, and 9/64 of an inch. So at 5 pounds, you're almost still at half of the actual travel that it would have with the factory stops. So it really, when you pull back into that, one of our stops, it really says, we're here, we're at the stop, we're ready to go. When you pull into the factory stop, it's like, you can pull a little harder, so you're not quite sure. So I like to call it more of a defined back wall and not necessarily like a hard back wall. So that's how I compare. People ask if it's going to give them a harder back wall. This is how I can compare it. It's the best way I have. So now back to the lengths, the changing that we have. So we're back on the A6P stop, and we got the 3-dot and the 4-dot side. We're still leaving the module in 9 and the stop in 9. And all the way up to so the 3-dot side was still 13.6 pounds, and our draw length, it decreased 1/8 of an inch. At the 4-dot, our holding weight went up to 14 pounds, and our draw length decreased 3/16 of an inch. So the bow is a 75% let-off bow, and this is 76%. So it's very close to what it's advertised at. So we are getting that number down with the A6P. Then what we do is we go to the B6P, and we also have 4 spots on that. We're still going to be in the number 9 in the module, and number 9 with the stop. And with the 1-dot, we go to 14.6 pounds, and we lose a 1/4 inch of draw length. 2 dots, we go to 15.7, and we lose 5/16 of draw length. So we're starting to build some poundage here. If that's what you like, then that's what you want to do. And at 3 dots, we're 16.3, and our draw length is shortening up 11/32. 4 dots, we're at 17, and we are shortening up 3/8 of an inch. And here we're at 71% let off. Then we would continue to the C6P. We'll use the 1 and 2 dot side. We'll go up to 18 pounds of holding weight here, and we'll shorten it 7/16, and then we'll go to 18.7, and then I'll shorten it 1/2 inch. Now that's all going shorter except for the very first one with the A6P 1 dot. Gives us a 3/32 increase in draw length. Going longer with this bow is fairly interesting because it moved pretty fast, and the holding weight stayed about the same throughout the entire cycle. So we would start with the B6P, and we want to start on the large side. So we're on the 4 dot side. Our module is still at 9, but our stop goes to the 9.5 setting. And our holding weight drops to 13 pounds, and our draw length increases 1/8 of an inch. And then we would continue to the 3, 2, and 1 dot side, still on number 9 with the module, and the stop in the number 5, so we're in that long pegging mode. And our holding weight is 13.2 pounds, and we go to 1/4 inch longer, and then at 2 dots, we're at 13.3 pounds, and we go to 5/16 longer, and then 13.2, and we are at 7/16 longer. And then we would continue down to the A6P, and we're only going to use the 4 dot side and the 3 dot side. Again, we're on the 9 and the 9.5, so we're a ½ inch longer on the draw where the peg goes. And the holding weight's at 13.2 also, and it adds 30 seconds, and here it's 13.4, and it goes to 9/16. So those are the numbers that you can expect off of this bow. Like I said, when we go longer, it goes fairly fast, but we've also moved the stop in closer to the axle, which makes it react a lot faster than when it's outside of the axle. So that's why I attribute it to going faster on the going longer. When we're going shorter, we've got quite a few settings to get it to a ½ inch shorter. So this bow holds the holding weight fairly consistent. There's really no lump or anything when you actually make it longer. It goes to 13 pounds, and it's a pretty constant 13-pound pull until you hit the stop. So if you like longer valley, this cam is very good for doing that. Now all these numbers are going to change a little bit depending upon the cam type or what draw length you're in, but it gives you a pretty basic idea of what we can accomplish with these stops. I hope this video helped explain the stops and how to make a selection of the stops and what long pegging and short pegging is, and how we're actually accomplishing what we're claiming we're doing with the stops. All the stops can be purchased at Lucky Stops website. It's www.lucky-stops.com. If you have any questions, just email me. There's a contact page on there. It helps to email me the type of bow, what cam it is, and let me know your draw length and what you're looking to do with the bow. If you want to have more let off or less let off. If it's a special application, I might ask you for a picture of the cam. And if you send me a picture of the cam, remove the stop that you're currently using, and I need to be able to see the module and the stop holes, and I need it as square to the cam as possible, so point it as close to straight as you can to the cam. And I need you to lay a ruler. It needs to be contacting the cam. It can be either a ruler or tape measure, and that ruler should be close to the holes that you put your stop in. And then also tell me what hole your stop currently is in and all that other information I mentioned before. And from that, I should be able to come up with a stop that will work for you. I'd like to thank you for taking the time and watching the video today. I'd like to thank Oak Ridge Archery for letting us use the bow that we did the video on today. Also, keep looking at our website. We've got a couple new products coming out that you might be interested in. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will actually get back to you. So